Hey guys, how are you? Mike DeMora here. We're down to Beach, California at the NCEP Fitness office. Alrighty, so today what I really wanted to go over, first off, I heard you. Remember when you said you wanted the lectures to be a little bit shorter, and we listened. And so we're going to stay between that 5 and 7 minute range, just like you asked. So the amount of views actually almost doubled last week. So it looks like you really were looking for that. So with that said, typically, because last week we did upper cross syndrome, this week we would go to lower cross syndrome, but instead I'm going to skip to what we call pronation distortion pattern. Now, why would I do that? Well, first, because a couple of weeks ago, remember we went over the whole piriformis and how that goes? Well, that has a lot to do with that lower cross syndrome. So why should I repeat it again? You can look back a couple of blogs before, or maybe I'll even repeat it again in a couple of weeks. But right now, let's go over pronation distortion. What is that? Well, I got my little buddy here. That's right. I got my little buddy here. And so let's go over pronation distortion. So what is it? Pronation distortion is, here's your foot, right? Here's your foot and ankle, right? Here's your ankle. So pronation distortion is you are lacking the ability to do what? You're lacking the ability to pull your foot up into what we call dorsiflexion. So you have less than 10 degrees right here in dorsiflexion. So when you go to do a squat, it stops and you can't go any further. So what happens typically is the upper body starts to come down. So you think you're actually going down further, but you're not. You're from your feet all the way down to your hips, you're locked and you haven't gone any further. Now, this is really damaging. So what happens oftentimes is, because you have no more mobility in the sagittal plane, your body decides to find a different plane. So it decides to do what they call the frontal plane. So your arches start to collapse, your knees start to cave in, and then you start to fall forward. And this is not healthy on any of your body parts. So let's look over that. So what do? How do we solve this? How do we make this issue better? So first, once again, we do the overhead squat and we see that the foot and ankle stop, and then they start to fall forward, their feet cave in, their knees cave in, and it looks pretty ugly. So what do? Well, once again, we take our what? Our trusty Theragun. We love our Theragun. We take our trusty Theragun, and what are the muscles that are facilitated? In other words, what are the muscles that are tight? Well, the muscles that are tight are going to be the posterior tibialis, the gastrocnemius, and the soleus. We are going to hit all three of those. How long are we going to hit them for? We're going to hit them for a minimum of 2 minutes. A minimum of 2 minutes. Remember, we don't want to poke the bear. We need to go 2 minutes to relax those muscles, right? Now, what is the opposite of the plantar flexion that's being stopped? The opposite is dorsiflexion. So the muscles that do dorsiflexion are the ones that need to be what? They need to be turned on. So what are we going to do? We're going to take our Theragun, and what's the number one mover? What's the number one mover for dorsiflexion? That's called the anterior tibialis. So what we're going to do is, the minute we get that movement occurring, we're going to pull up using our anterior tibialis, pull into what? Into, as far as we can do, dorsiflexion, right? And we're going to hold. That's right. We're going to pull it up. We're going to pull them up, have them pull up, and we're going to hold. And boy, we'd love to get that far. And we're going to hold it here. We're going to hold it here. Hold it here. How long? What's level 1? What is level 1? Come on, guys. 30 seconds to 3 minutes. We're going to hold. Right? Now, after we do level 1, what are we going to do? We're going to do level 2. So then after we get there, we're going to now do some repetitions. Slowly. Now, once we've gotten this, right? Once we've gotten this all worked up, now we're going to integrate it into our squat. Now, what I like to do is I like to do one side at a time. So if we're working on our left side, now we're going to do single leg squats. Single leg, I like to do same thing, single leg, opposite arm touchdowns. We're going to go down, single leg, opposite arm touchdowns, focusing on slow moving action. In other words, focusing on the eccentric contraction to elongate to elongate that posterior tib, elongate that soleus, and elongate that gastrocnemius that you've just relaxed, right? Does that make sense? All right, guys, I hope that was great for today. Once again, I told you I'd keep this nice and short, but straight and to the point. If you do this with your clients, you will see micro gains every day, every single day. And you will see their squats improve, their movement improve, and everything else. Thank you so much for being with us today. Hope to see you next week. God bless.